Hi, in this video, I want to discuss the compensation types. So when you say compensation types, we are actually referring to other compensation, which is any earning given to employees on top of basic salary and e-COLA. Now, to go to compensation types, all you have to do is to go to configuration, settings, and then compensation type. Okay, so once you go to the compensation type, as other configuration, it will show the list of all the compensation types that were already entered in the system. Now, to create a new compensation type, all you have to do is to click add new record. Okay, so from here you'll put the compensation code. Okay, now regarding the compensation code, there is no format in the system. You can put any format or any code that is compatible with your system in your organization. Okay, so you can put let's say a letter and then a number, or maybe just a number, let's say 009, or it could be, let's say it is, if it is refers to an allowance, let's say transportation allowance, maybe you can say transpo, like that. Okay, so it depends on you. Now let's say I will just put a number, let's say 009, and then here you put the description of the compensation. Let's say it is a housing allowance, for example, so you say housing. Okay, and then here there is what you call the tax classification. So what is the use of the tax classification? As you can see, there is de minimis, representation, profit sharing, and so on. This is actually has an effect on the payroll and also on the year-end report, like the ALPA lease and also the 2316. Okay, so let me show you how it affects the payroll and also the year-end report. Okay, so let us discuss first the de minimis benefit. So what is the concept behind de minimis? What is the meaning of de minimis benefit? Okay, so de minimis benefits are benefits of relatively small values provided by employers to employees on top of basic compensation for the general welfare of employees. So what are the examples of the de minimis benefits? Okay, so number one is rice subsidy of 1,500 or one sack of rice of 50 kilogram rice per month amounting to not more than 1,500. Uniform and clothing allowance not exceeding 5,000 per annum. Actual medical assistance, example medical allowance to cover medical and healthcare needs. Annual medical executive checkup, maternity assistance, and routine consultation not exceeding 10,000. Laundry allowance not exceeding 300 pesos a month, and so on. Now, as you can see, excuse me, so most of these benefits are relatively small. Okay, like for example this laundry allowance, it's just 300 pesos per month, and of course these are for the general welfare of the employees. Okay, and also what you can observe is that they have ceiling amount per annum or per month. Okay, but in the system we are doing it per month. So normally these benefits are non-taxable. So when the employees when the employer give this to employee, these are non-taxable. Okay, normally. But then if the amount being given to the employee exceeded the ceiling amount, then that excess the excess amount will be considered already taxable. For example, let's say you're an employee and you're receiving 500 pesos a month for laundry allowance instead of 300. So in that case, 300 is non-taxable, but the excess of 200 will already be taxable. Okay, so that's what we mean by de minimis benefit. Okay, and there are many de minimis benefit here, as you can see, and you can see them on website of BIR. No? If you are interested to know more about this de minimis benefits, but basically these are other compensation of small value and that are non-taxable and with ceiling amount. Okay, so that is de minimis benefit. Okay, now how do we treat them in the system? Of course, when you go to the compensation type for a particular allowance, okay, you declare it as de minimis benefit, and then what will be the effect in HR Tech, no? When you do the processing of payroll and the year-end report. Now for the payroll, what will happen is that on the summary, that amount will go to here on this column, de minimis benefit. Okay, so when you are giving the employee the de minimis benefit per period or on the last period, it will come here on this column. Okay, now for the 2316, okay, okay, this is actually the 2316. Let me show you. Now for those of you who don't know about 2316, this is actually a certificate of compensation, meaning it certifies that you earn this amount for 1 year. Okay, so normally when the government is computing your tax, okay, the basis is always on the annual salary, although for every month or every payroll period you are being deducted by the employer. That is what you call the withholding tax, so advance payment for your tax. But actually that is just what you call estimate of your tax. There could be some adjustment at the end of the year. So at the end of the year, maybe the total taxes that were collected from you might be greater than or less than the amount that you should pay, or what you call the tax due. Okay, so regarding that amount, it can be seen from this certification. Okay, so as you can see, there is here the tax amount and then amount of taxes withheld. Okay, so and this is actually the income tax return being submitted to the BIR. And also, of course, some employees they are using it as a proof of income. No, let's say they want to apply for loan, or maybe if you want to go for a tour abroad. No, for example, if you want to go to Paris, now the French embassy is requiring you to have a proof of income. So you can use this 2316 to show your income for the year. No, okay, so yeah, that's the use of the 2316. Now, what is the relation of this 2316 to the compensation type? No, as I said, it has an effect on the tax classification. So when you say it is de minimis benefit, that amount will come here. on this item number 33, as you can see, it is non-taxable compensation income. Okay, so the total amount for the whole year will come here on this field. Okay, de minimis benefit. Okay, so take note that this 2316 is for the whole year. That means it will sum up all your payroll from January to December. As you can see here, there is for the year. So let's say it is for the year 2020. That means it will calculate the total of your salary for the whole year. Okay, so in this case, the total of de minimis benefits for the whole year will come here. Okay, that is if you declare that a particular compensation is a de minimis benefit. Okay, now there is also representation, transportation, commission, profit sharing, director fee, housing hazard pay. Okay, so now all of this on the payroll, those items that I mentioned here will actually go to here on the other allowances taxable, because those things that I mentioned, those items like housing, fixed housing allowance, food allowance, transportation, and so on, those are considered taxable. Okay, so they will come here. So all the total of those items will come here. But when you go to the 2316 at the end of the year, they will be spread into particular item. Like if it is representation, it will come to representation. If it is transportation, it will go here. If it is housing allowance, it will go here. Commission, profit sharing, director fee, and so on. So and also hazard pay. As you can see here, those are the items I mentioned in the 2316. Okay, so it's different in 2316. So in 2316, these are distributed. But in the payroll, if you come to the payroll here, the system will only get the total, and that total will come here on the other allowances. But of course, if you want to see the breakdown, you'll come here and you will see the breakdown. So how much is housing allowance, how much is transportation allowance, hazard pay, and so on. So even the de minimis benefits, although they have a total here on this column here, although it's only a total here, you can also see the breakdown here. Okay, so next is we have here the other non-taxable income. Okay, so when you classify the compensation as other non-taxable income on the payroll, it will go to here on the other non-taxable income. Okay, so example of other non-taxable income, maybe gifts coming from the employer, or maybe Christmas bonus on top of the 13th month. So those initially those are actually non-taxable. Okay, by the way, there is also a ceiling amount for other non-taxable income. Okay, the ceiling amount is actually 90,000, 90,000. So if you add your 13th month and your other income, non-taxable income, that means if you have a bonus or maybe a gift from the employer because of your good performance in the company, so if that total exceeded 90,000, for example, it became 120,000, so any amount exceeding 90,000 will already be considered taxable. Okay, in fact, if you go to the 2316 here, initially they will go to total non they will go here, no? On the 13th month pay and other benefits, and also salaries and other forms of compensation. Okay, and there is here the minimis benefits. Now, if you add this item 32, 33, and 35, any amount exceeded on that matter will already be transferred here. Okay, on the taxable 13th month benefits. Okay, so yeah, let me go back to the compensation type here. So yeah, that's it. When you say other non-taxable income, it will go to the non-taxable income. When you say other non-taxable benefit on the payroll, it will also come here on the other income non-taxable. But in 2316, the difference between the two, the other non-taxable income and other non-taxable benefit, is here on the 2316. So when you say other income, it will actually come here on the salaries and other forms of compensation. But when you say other benefit, it will go here on the 13-month pay and other benefits. Okay, but again, when you determine the taxability or the taxable amount, you will add these three: the 13-month pay and other benefits, the de minimis benefits, and also the salaries and other forms of compensation. So any amount exceeding 90,000 will go here on the taxable 13-month benefits. Okay, so let me go back here. So of course, when it is 13th month pay, because when you create the 13th month pay, definitely you will also create a payroll. So those in those payroll, the compensation type will automatically be 13th month pay. So if it is 13th month pay, on the payroll, it will go on the of course here on the other income non-taxable. Okay, and then on the 13th, on the 2316, it will come here. So initially it will go here, that amount. But if that amount exceeded 90,000, which is actually mentioned here, by the way, 13th month pay and other benefits, maximum of 90,000. Okay, so if you cannot see it, I think I will maximize it. Okay, see, there is here 13-month pay and other benefits, maximum of 90,000. So if your 13th month exceeded 90,000, for example, it's already 100,000. In that case, 90,000 will not be taxable, that is non-taxable, and the 10,000 will already be considered taxable, and it will be added here. Here, taxable 13-month benefits. Okay, so let me go back on the compensation type. Yeah, you can also see here the basic pay and overtime pay, but actually these are just on a special case. Like if you want to do adjustment for basic pay or overtime pay, so you need to put the compensation type as basic pay or overtime pay, because although we are on the other compensation, by the way, but there are cases where you need to do some adjustment. Like for instance, on the previous payroll, there's something wrong with the calculation of the basic pay or overtime pay. Maybe the overtime pay was not approved and later it was approved, so therefore you have to give it to the employee. Now, when you give it to the employee, it will be adjusted to the next payroll period. So in that case, it will not be added on the other non-taxable income. Excuse me. So, but rather, it will go to the column of the either basic pay or overtime pay. So I'm talking about this basic pay or overtime pay, depending on the compensation type that you specified on that adjustment. Okay. So let me go back on the other compensation type. Yeah, I think that's it. Those are the tax classification that you need to specify on a particular compensation. Okay. Now another field that you need to specify is the rate type. Okay, rate type actually specify the amount here. The no, not here, but rather on the salary. Now, to know more about information about the salary, please watch my video regarding salary. Now, on the salary, just to give you a recap, there's actually an amount. Okay, and of course you need to specify whether it is other compensation. Now that amount, if let's say you specify 10,000. Okay, now when you say 10,000, what do you mean by 10,000? Is it monthly? Is it daily? Annually? Is it a quantity or percent? You need to specify it here. So when you say 10,000 and the rate type is monthly, that means that employee will receive that compensation 10,000 monthly. But if you say daily, that means that employee will receive 10,000 daily. Okay? And then here there is annually, so of course it is for 1 year. And sometimes there is quantity. So it means it's not an amount, it's a quantity. So normally this is applicable to some companies that I have encountered, like for example the gasoline allowance. So instead of giving the employee a particular amount, let's say gasoline allowance of 10,000 per month, they are giving it on liters, because as you know, the gasoline is fluctuating. The price of the gasoline is fluctuating. Sometimes it is 42 per liter, 49, 52. So depending on the state of the supply and demand. Okay, like if there is a crisis in the Middle East, of course it will go up, and if the supply is stable, it will go down, and so on. Okay, so there is a fluctuation. So in that case, instead of giving the employee a particular amount, excuse me, so the employer will give the quantity. So in that case, you need to specify it as a quantity, the rate type, not amount, not daily, not monthly, but quantity. And sometimes it is percent. So what do I mean by percent? Because I've seen here on the minimis benefits, there are some benefits here, like daily meal allowance, no, for overtime work and night graveyard shift, not exceeding 25% of the basic minimum wage on a per region basis. So that means it means that for every region, as we know, there is a minimum wage, right? Now, that minimum wage, you'll get the 25%. So that 25% will be considered as the meal allowance of the employee. And it is being given when the employee rendered overtime work or graveyard shift. But again, this is not compulsory for the employer. It's it's just actually an option for the employer to give it to the employee. So if it is not being given, then it's not actually against the law. Okay, that is understandable. Okay, but in case the employer is giving it to the employee, it should not exceed 25% of the minimum wage. Like for example, if the minimum wage is 400, so 25% of 400 is maybe 100. So I don't have calculator here, so I presume it's 100. So let's say the employer give maybe Jollibee meal, no? And that Jollibee meal, how much is Chicken Joy now? Maybe 150. Okay. So in that case, 50 pesos will already be taxable because it exceeded the 100 pesos. That is 25% of the minimum. Okay. So if that is the case, if it is based on the percentage, you will specify here percent. Okay. Next, we go to the payment schedule. Now, payment schedule is actually refers to how frequent you are giving this compensation to the employee. So it can be per period. That means if the employee is payroll frequency may be semi-monthly or weekly, it is being given per payroll. No, regardless if it is the first payroll period of the month or second period or the last period, doesn't matter. It will be given per period. Okay, and it will be automatically be given. No need to type it into the system. As you can see here on the compensation and other benefits, it is actually being automatically generated here. So if you watch my video regarding how to generate a payroll, you will see that all these items here are automatically generated by the system. So they are being automatically generated depending on the payment schedule. So if it is per period or last period, shall I say? So when you say last period, it means it is not per period, of course. It will be last period, meaning whatever is the last period for the month. So let's say if it is semi-monthly, it will go to the second period. That means your salary for 30th of the month. Okay. So if it is weekly, so the last week of the month, whatever is the last week of the month. No, so it is not being given per payroll. Okay. There is also here manual. So manual, it will not be automatically generated by the system. So when you declare that a compensation is manual, it will not be generated automatically. So meaning, if you come here, it will not come here automatically. Okay. You need to put it manually. When you are making the payroll, it needs to be inputted manually. So maybe an example of this is maybe commission, because not most of the time the employees is receiving commission, because in most companies a salesman will only receive commission when the salesman exceeded the quota or maybe reached the quota. No. So if the salesman did not reach the quota, of course there is no commission. Okay. Anyway, it depends on the company. I think maybe there are some companies also that are giving commission even the employee did not reach the quota. Maybe for every item that you sell, you already have a commission, maybe 1% of the price of the item. Okay, but most of the time, of course, it's if you are on the commission basis, you have a target, no, you have a quota that you need to reach. So if the employee reaches the quota, then that's the time the employee will be given that allowance or commission. Okay, so that's why here when you specify commission, it should be manual. Otherwise, if you did not put it manual, if you put it last period or per period, then system will automatically give it to the employee, regardless whether that employee reached the quota or not. Okay, so be careful on that. So if it is not being given regularly or automatically by the system, make sure that it is manual. Okay? There is also here the annual ceiling amount. This is actually referring to the de minimis benefit. So as you can see here on my example of the de minimis benefits, there are ceiling amount. Okay, so that ceiling amount you should put it here. Annual ceiling. Take note, it is annual ceiling. That means it is for 1 year. But as you can see here, there are some items that are per month. For example, this laundry allowance, this is per month, 300 pesos per month. So if it is 300 pesos per month, so 1 year for that is, you need to multiply it by 12. So that is 3,600. Okay, so when you put the 3,600, you should put it here. So you should not put 300, you should put 3,600 because it is annual. Okay, why it is annual? Because why is it annual? Because as I said, when the BIR is computing your tax, it will be on the annual basis. Okay, not per month. Okay, so that's why it is mentioned here as annual ceiling. And again, I repeat, this only refers to the tax classification de minimis benefit. So if it is not de minimis benefits, you are not required to put annual ceiling here because it's of no use. It will only be used when the tax classification is de minimis benefit. Okay, so please take note of that. Now another field is the payroll type. Okay, now if this is blank, that means for any payroll type, and it will be, let's say it will be given automatically, so it will automatically be generated by the system. It will be added here regardless of the payroll type. Now to know more information about payroll type, please watch my video regarding payroll type. But basically, payroll type is actually specifying the items to be included in the payroll. Okay, so when it is blank here, that means any payroll type. But if you specify a particular payroll type, for example, you just specify regular, so that means when the payroll type of the payroll that you are generating is incentive, then it will not be given to the employee. Okay, so it depends on the payroll type. So if it is regardless of payroll type, you just make it blank here. Okay, and finally we have the account. Now account actually is related to the journal entry. Okay, so I have a separate video regarding the journal entry. As you know, in the journal entry here on the payroll, so there are here accounts, and there is a debit and credit. Okay, so when the system calculate the total for that payroll on that particular compensation type that you specify here, let's say it's a de minimis, you need to specify what account is related to de minimis benefits. Maybe it's a laundry allowance. Okay, so when the system encounter that amount, it will actually read this field. So if you say laundry allowance, then when it calculates the journal entry here, the account that will be specified by the system will be laundry allowance, like here. So the total of that amount will go here on this account. Okay, so if you don't know what to put here, for those of you, this is actually designed for the accountants, by the way. Okay, so for those users that are non-accountants, then and you're not sure what to put here, then you can always ask your chief accountant. Definitely your chief accountant or accountant will know what to put here, because this is their specialty, of course. Okay, so you need to ask your accountant what to put here. Okay, because they are the one who knows what account to be debited or credited on a particular compensation. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it. I hope I made it clear for you, for all of you, how to use this compensation type. But of course, maybe I missed something. So if there is something that I was not able to mention, or if there are still doubts or maybe some questions in your mind, or maybe you have a doubt on what I said, maybe what I said is wrong, huh? Because everybody is not perfect. So if there's anything, question, doubts, or additional information that you want to know, just put it on the comments below. Okay, and thanks for watching for all of you. Bye for now.